Namaskar, friends. This is NJ, your host on this channel. So, friends, in this video, we will have our discussion on a very important topic connected with the marriage, which is about what all are the combinations which give indication of a spiritual marriage, like a spiritual marriage yoga, and comparing it with the divorce yoga in the chart. Because I'm sure, like, lot many people who are in a midlife and they are like just kind of confused where they are headed in their life. I keep on getting many consultations where people ask me this question that Nipun, am I supposed to be in this marriage? Nothing wrong, but I still sometimes get confused. So in those kind of situation, what does the chart tell about? Now, friends, like the way you know that whichsoever topic I select for my videos, it's always governed by the theme being created by moon in the transit. I'm perfectly, completely living in sync and in synchronicity with the nature, with the cosmos. So obviously at a time when I'm recording this video, moon is transiting in the Scorpio in the Jyeshtha nakshatra. It is conjunct with Venus, which is combust and which is also in the Gandant. So they both are in a Gandant kind of alignment. So that also gave me this inspiration that let's talk about this complicated side of the life, because a lot of the times the failure which we experience in the life, the rejection and the adjustments which we go through in the life, they might have some higher meaning or higher purpose to serve. Because friends, let me share one more example. Couple of months back it happened. There was this girl, she booked her reading with me, and primarily she wanted to ask about her brother. So her brother, like, he had a love marriage, and after a while, because of being in a joint family and being married so young, there were some issues in the marriage and they both decided to get divorced. And even after that, they cannot live away from each other. They have again started conversing and now they are thinking about getting back together. So I mean to say, there is some aspect which we have to experience through marriage, through union, or through partnership. And also, friends, a lot of the times it happens because, see, when I'm doing any astrological consultation for a person, my job is to just to narrate your planetary alignments, give you the pros and cons of the decision which you are considering. Then the final choice is something which you have to make. But a lot of the times it happens where I actually have to emphasize that when people see, if you are facing the hardship in the marriage, everything is going wrong and bad, then somehow life in itself makes things clear for you. But sometimes when it's not that bad, but still it is not good either, and then people get confused. So in those cases, after looking at the chart, I have to actually convince the clients that you are considering or thinking about divorce and you do not know how much you are getting benefited because of this marriage or because of the stars of your partner, your spouse. So better you stay in this matrimonial bond, because all other areas of your life you are experiencing the blessing only because of that. And also, friends, like marriage, childbirth, all these are the areas where our product, our blessing and destiny also plays a very significant role. Otherwise, I was like reading about this article done on a very famous industrialist from India, Ratan Tata ji. He's now no more, but he was a big industrialist, humanitarian, and like people used to like him a lot. So even in one of his interview, he mentioned this thing that there was a time in his life where he very desperately wanted to get married, but it never happened. Now imagine one of the richest person in India, eligible bachelor, a very good character. Even after that, it did not happen in his case. Those were his own words. So I mean to say, in this area, friends, knowing things becomes very important, and just because honoring the theme which is there right now in the transit. So we will have our discussion on the spiritual marriage yoga in the chart. So friends, again, let me make this thing very clear. So when I say the like spiritual marriage, so what do I mean by the spiritual marriage? So a spiritual marriage is not defined by happiness, romance, social approval, or longevity alone. A spiritual marriage is one where ego is eroded, attachment is purified, and the soul evolves through partnership. So okay friends, let me share my screen first with you. And yeah, that's here. Yes, I hope you can see the screen. So, yes, the discussion is about the marriage. So, spiritual marriage yoga versus the divorce yoga in the chart. So, friends, starting first with the very first thing, the hidden key in the chart, knowing that becomes very important. So, when I say anything connected with the like where we talk about the marriage or relationship, the characteristics of your partner, contribution of the marriage. So, when we talk about that, the very first thing which comes to everyone's mind is the D1 chart and the D9 chart. So again, okay, let me make this thing very clear with you. First of all, to begin with, that when we talk about because in this discussion, we are talking about and we will use the term like suffering as well. So you have to understand that the most important rule in any analysis is that suffering in the marriage does not automatically mean the divorce karma. Many marriages are designed to be uncomfortable. So many marriages are designed to be uncomfortable so that the soul evolves. And I will explain that through different combinations, through different case studies. So divorce yoga appear only when karma cannot be completed within the marriage or dharma is violated repeatedly without correction. So core difference in simple one line is that when we talk about the spiritual marriage yoga, your ego is challenged. When we talk about the divorce yoga, ego is incompatible. So in the spiritual marriage, karma matures. In the divorce yoga, karma aborts. And you will get to know that when we talk about the role of the karmic planets, the kind of role which they play even in the marriage. When we talk about the marriage, the only thing which comes to our mind, the only planets which comes to our mind is planet like moon, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter. I can show you so many charts where when the hardship came in the marriage, when the hardship came in the life of one person, the partner or the spouse left the marriage. And there have been those instances where you will even see that one person has fallen into disability and you will see the partner staying by his or her spouse, pushing the wheelchair. In some of the cases where there have been the concerns of the animal attack, acid attack, so many things. But even after that, your partner sticks with you. So that means all that capacity to endure the hardship. So the malefic planets, they also play a very significant role because they know that marriage is not all about happy moments and the happy feelings. It is also about to stick by in the days of the hardship as well. So over there you will get to know that when we talk about the spiritual marriage yoga, Saturn and Ketu plays a very significant role. And see, Saturn will definitely dominate. Ketu will work in a way of it will become a agent of purification. But when we talk about the divorce yoga, over there Rahu dominates and Ketu start acting like cutting the ties. You will get to know once we will start getting deeper into it. So friends, the very first thing is that in like for this analysis, the hidden key is that you cannot make the decision only via looking at the D1 chart alone. See, I have to write these things because those who are new to Vedic astrology, because I'm sure that if you have been invested in astrology for a long time, you would be knowing the importance of the D9 chart. But those who are new to it, so D1 chart, called as the ascendant chart, the chart or the screenshot of the planetary placements at a time when you were born. This tells about more about like desire and the events. But when we open up the D9 chart or the Navamsa chart, it tells about the sustainability and the dharma aspect of it. And when we talk about the D60, just because I recently made a video on the Shashtyamsha chart as well, so I put this as well. So D60 tells more about the past life marriage karma. So if you do not know about the D60 or the Shashtyamsha chart, I have just recently uploaded a video on that on my channel. You can watch that. Now, friends, so you will get to know that divorce yogas must repeat across charts. Spiritual marriage yoga usually improve from D1 to D9. You will get to know about it. So now comes the question that when I say the spiritual marriage yoga, so in these kind of alignments, you will see that Saturn will dominate the marriage axis. And I always say people get worried, when a client has come to you for the consultation, the person is Leo rising, Cancer rising, or even if you are not a Cancer or Leo rising, but Saturn is somehow influencing your seventh house. And when you advise the client that, okay, be mature, be patient, it will happen, just go with the flow. So they don't like it. So again, that's what I'm trying to tell you, that Saturn, when it dominates the marriage axis, which generally happens in a form that either Saturn is aspecting the seventh house or the seventh lord, Saturn is strong in the D9 chart as well, and Venus is like kind of subdued, like combust and all, but not completely weak. So this could result in a delayed marriage. This could result in the heavy responsibilities, or this could also talk about longevity over pleasure. Like these are those people you will see that um, I couldn't tell you, friends. There was this person I was talking to when I was new to Canada, and he was like a truck driver. And he told me he was rich. He has like many trucks. In Indian guy from Punjab, many trucks in Canada, and he told me that Nipun, when we first time came here, so and he was being very grateful to his wife. He says that my wife never demanded anything, and even we lived initially with very humble means, because we were sure of this fact that we have to buy our first truck, because before that he used to do the driving for someone else. But he says that we keep on cutting down our expenses. They both were very hardworking, they both were very realistic, and from one truck which they bought, they then it opened doors to many other things. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that Saturn's domination in the seventh house axis, first house, seventh house axis, can actually make someone very responsible, and longevity, long term vision over the immediate pleasure. So the key marker for this is that marriage survives because of the duty. Now, friends, the second point, if you have to look at the chart primarily from the spiritual point of view. Now, again, let me be very clear. When you talk about the path of the spirituality, it has got its own set of hardship, challenges. A spiritual life is never easy. A spiritual life is never very flamboyant. So, I mean to say, you might be going through hardship in the marriage right now when you are listening to this video, but the point you have to understand or take away from this video is that those hardship is for your good. It's not something where the marriage is headed towards divorce, separation. There's a thin line between these two. So yes, now the second point is, friends, when we talk about the spiritual marriage yogas, so Ketu's influence, the most underrated, ignored kind of planet when it comes down to the marriage aspect. You will see the novice astrologers, those who are new to astrology, so or who just believe in doing the fear mongering and taking money from clients on the name of the remedies and all. You will see they will see Ketu in the seventh house, and they will start scaring the client. So you have to understand that the influence of the Ketu can actually give you some sort of detachment. But if that Ketu is well supported by other planets, which you will get to know in this discussion, like Jupiter, Saturn, seventh lord, well placed. So it talks more about less desire, less expectation, and more to do with the soul purpose and spiritual companionship in the marriage. So the influence of the Ketu, um, whether Ketu is like conjunct with the seventh lord, it is placed in the seventh house, and Jupiter supports this axis. D9 chart shows stability, so then it has got more to do with the spiritual companionship. And the key marker for this placement of Ketu, the strength of Ketu, is marriage loses illusion but not the existence. Now, friends, talking about the next point, when we talk about the spiritual marriage yoga, so seventh lord you will see being improved in the D9 chart. So I mean to say, if you will see that in the main ascendant chart, seventh lord is debilitated. Seventh lord is under the malefic influence. But if the same seventh lord and its condition, its dignity improves in the D9 chart, it is a very supportive kind of indication. So that means marriage will mature with the time. It also tells about there might be initial hardship, but there will be later stability. Now, friends, and that generally happens. Like you will see that the same seventh lord in the D9 chart is exalted in the benefic influence. So that will lead towards this transition. Now, friends, next is moksha houses active, supported. So that means, let's say, for example, if the seventh lord in the D9, like your seventh lord from the D1 chart, the seventh lord in the D9, it has gone to the eighth house or the 12th house, and it is well placed over there, or like with some benefic aspect, and Saturn and Jupiter are also supporting it, like instilling the discipline. So that tells more about marriage will transform both the partners. Emotional intensity, but there is going to be continuity in the marriage as well. That karma is not done now or yet. You still have to stick by that marriage. So that means because the moksha houses are involved. And friends, obviously, because Jupiter has to protect. So Jupiter protects these kind of marriages where the marriage has got some spiritual flavors to it. So that means Jupiter aspecting the seventh lord or the seventh house in the D1 chart, in the D9 chart as well. Jupiter is strong over there. So this will talk more about the ethical restraint. It will talk about the guidance will replace the impulse, and marriage will survive the crisis. Now, friends, after knowing little bit about the spiritual marriage points, now when we talk about the divorce yogas. So in the divorce yogas, friends, see, divorce yogas are not the single placement. They are repeating breakdown patterns. And I always say this thing that if your life is headed in one particular direction, you will get the indication for multiple direction. This could be a case that Gulika is placed in the seventh house, Venashik Nakshatra is placed in the seventh house, seventh lord is weak. Even in your seventh house, there is the influence of the Dhanishta Nakshatra, seventh lord is in the Punarvasu Nakshatra. So you will see the indication coming in from multiple directions. So the very first is going to be Rahu. So the more emphasis in the spiritual marriage, the soul level marriage, where we were giving emphasis more to the Ketu and the Saturn. Now in these kind of combination, you will see emphasis goes more to the planet Rahu. So now Rahu has got its own way. It could distort someone's thought process. This could corrupt someone's character. This could increase the desire. This could increase the illusion. So that's how it can pave path. So the pattern could be that Rahu is conjunct the seventh lord, or it is conjunct with the Venus, or Rahu is stronger than the Saturn or Jupiter. And in the D9 chart, the affliction is getting repeated. So that's the first combination, because it will tell about the affairs, instability, discontent despite the efforts. And you will see that desire seeks the novelty, not the repair. Okay, let's do something fresh. Let's start fresh. Let's do something new. That sort of mindset. Now, friends, the next point is like you will see that in the divorce yogas, you will see that the seventh lord degrades from the D1 to D9. So, simply put, we know that like the Navamsa, the kind of role which Navamsa plays. Navamsa in itself tells about that all that shine, limelight, fancy dinners, initial courtship, dating charm and elegance, laughing at each other, smiling at each other, everything fades away when the responsibility of the marriage comes in. I remember there was a friend of mine, he was telling me this thing because he had been in the relationship where like the relationship never worked out, or he keep on attracting partner but they just don't want to commit or stick. So he says this thing, he was telling me this thing, upon that after a while you will realize that once you reach that age, certain things which the regular couples find very ordinary, even every day when you go to bed to sleep and wake up and see the same person in the evening, see the person entering the apartment, coming back to the home, that has got its own way of showing affection, love, to see someone around. So and also like when one person has fallen sick, one person has been dealing with some hardship, how the other person stick by. So all of that, so that generally is seen, all that intention, motivation, adjustments are generally seen from the D9 chart. Your spirit, your virtues, your ethics, your moral compass, all that comes from the D9. I always say things what will happen actually in reality, that is the ascendant chart. But it's just like that, how we deal with that situation, the strength of our moral, our character comes from the D9. So you will see that the seventh lord will degrade in the divorce yogas from D1 to D9. So this could be decent over there in the ascendant, but heavily afflicted in the D9 chart. So the marriage will collapse after initial phase, promise fails in reality. Now, friends, you will see repeated 6th, 8th, 12th damage without any support. So, this could be a case that the 7th Lord in the Dushtana and the D1, and the same is getting repeated in the D9, or the stabilizing factor generally comes from the Jupiter and the Saturn. Either these two planets are weak or not in a condition to support, reinforce. So, it will result in constant conflict, no karmic resolution, and separation very likely. Now, friends, when we talk about Venus, obviously, whether in a man's chart or in a female's chart, Venus plays a very significant role. So you will see that Venus might be in a similar alignment the way it is happening right now at a time when I'm recording this video, that Venus is in the Gandant conjunct with Moon, with Mercury in the Scorpio. So that means Venus is going to be combust, afflicted in the Rahu Ketu axis, no benefic rescue, and it might result in like loss of affection, emotional withdrawal, intimacy also break, and in extreme cases, if there is an influence of the Rahu, so those kind of people who always want something to get stimulated or like variety in the relationship, so it this sort of mindset. Moving ahead now, friends, one of the another combination for the divorce yoga could be that D60 confirms the relationship rupture karma. So in the D60 chart, the seventh house and the seventh lord. Now again, friends, for D60 to come into the validation, your birth chart timing, your birth timing has to be accurate. Any discrepancy, any variation, even more than 2 minutes, can actually change the whole alignments. So if you are sure of your birth time, do take that analysis till the D60 level. So, friends, this just tells about if there is going to be heavy affliction to marriage indicators in the D60. So, and there is a repetition of the abandonment themes. So, this could result in past life relationship karma unfinished or separation as karmic closure. So again, friends, you would have understood so far that many astrologers make this mistake that Saturn pain. So not all the time pain caused by Saturn is divorce, or not all the time pain caused by Ketu is like divorce. So the pain caused by Saturn or delays caused by Saturn might be instilling that quality of endurance in you. And with Ketu, it might have more to do with the purification. So divorce comes when Rahu refuses discipline and ego refuses surrender. Now, friends, timing. This is very important. So, timing is very important. So, that means if the marriage is of spiritual in nature, so you are in a spiritual marriage yoga that is getting applicable in your case. So, what kind of role would the time would play? So this generally talks about that the compatibility, the chemistry, love will improve after 36. Like in between this age, it improves after 36 to 42 years of the age. So this could be a case that in these years, like from 36 to 42, 6 years, these 6 years might be filled with many challenges, but after that there will be quick release, compatibility, and your life being perfectly in harmony, in alignment with the life of your partner as well. Like this could be a case that the husband is very spiritual, okay, and the wife is very materialistic. Let's take up a random example. But and because of this, they in these 6 years of the time of the marriage, let's assume they both are of the same age group, that they have had maximum difference. That the wife wants the husband to focus more on the career, abandon all the spiritual thoughts, spirituality, and focus more on the career and bring more money to the house, to the family. So they keep on fighting for these 6 years. But after that, this could be a case that the wife also became spiritual. They both started their own retreat, yoga center, and they both started prospering. So they both are now perfectly aligned or harmonized with each other. So that's what I'm trying to say. And generally, we say it's a hard fact. Like Saturn stabilize after like maturity, which is generally like 36, 42, age of Saturn, age of Rahu. So stabilizes post Saturn maturity. And again, friends, now that's different these days. See, this is how the beauty of the planets are. Like sometimes what happen, you were destined to have a stable matrimonial life after 36. So imagine if you come from a traditional society community. So your parents got you married as per the society standards, let's say when you were like 24, when you were 22. And from that 24 years of the age till 36, you kept on sucking each other's blood, fighting with each other, like in a marriage, fighting each other, bickering, complaining, self-doubting. And there was another person with a similar yoga. He did not get married at 24. He got married at 36. So yeah, the first couple which got married at 24, they kept on fighting throughout. But after 36, suddenly the marriage improved. They are perfectly in harmony with each other, compatible with each other. But the 12 years were filled with hardship, struggle, fights, conflicts. And there was another person, he did not get married at 24, he got married at 36 only. So he entered the marriage life or the matrimonial life or the marriage karma with harmony. So that's how you have to understand that the either this could be a case that because planets have got their own way, they have their own timing, they don't work as per the timing being governed by humans on the earthly plane. So yeah, and talking about it deepens with shared responsibility. The spiritual marriage generally deepens with the shared responsibility. Divorce yogas, in these cases, you will generally see the trigger comes during Rahu, Venus, Mars dashas. So, because with Venus, this is too much of the give and take and expectations in the matters of the in the love, in the Venus dasha. So, too much expectation, give and take in the matters of the love. With Rahu, this is like this could be illusion. With Mars, again, intensity, energy, physicality, impulse. So, and generally we say that what kind of role the time, the samay plays. So, repeated crisis without any resolution. And there might be emotional shutdown precedes separation. I was like listening to this podcast of um, I forgot this name, but I guess Vikas Divya Kirti sir. He came in one of the podcast, and the podcaster asked him, "Sir, why does like when the big mega success is about to enter in someone's life, the shallow relation break down?" So, oh my God, I forgot the reply what the sir gave. But yeah, he gave such a good reply that those relationship where there is no depth and there's no strong bonding. So when a person is about to enter a mega or very big or life-changing awakening phase, much like immediate before that, just couple of months before that only, all the shallow things, especially the relationship, start getting broken down, or those people with no purpose start being swayed away from your life. That is one of the telltale sign or symbol. So emotional shutdown precedes separation. Now, friends, so when we talk about in this kind of situation, so you always have to ask like these 5 questions. Like you would have like listened to this whole discussion on the spiritual marriage yoga versus the divorce marriage yoga. So always ask 5 questions. The very first thing is that then it will give you this answer. See, I'm sure spiritual life is never easy. Spiritual life is not that easy. So I mean to say, even if you are having a problem right now in the marriage or in any department of the marriage, whether you are in the marriage and in problem, or you're outside of the bond of the marriage, want to get married and in problem, whatever the situation is. So if you want to know that where it is headed, divorce, separation, spirituality, spiritual yoga, so that means ask these 5 questions: that does D9 improve or does D9 improve or worsen marriage promise? Is Saturn stronger than Rahu? Is Jupiter protecting the seventh house axis? Does suffering lead to maturity or more resentment? Does D60 repeat the separation theme? So, if you will contemplate and ponder over these 5 points, it will give you a clear answer. Now, friends, case pattern. Like the way I promised that we will discuss certain case studies as well. So let's look at it through different situation involving D1, D9 chart, planets and all, whatever we have discussed so far. So spiritual marriage versus divorce, how it actually shows up in the charts. So let's take up the first case set, which is about the spiritual marriage. So transformation without termination. So let's take up the case that, for example, if the case first situation is heavy early but sacred later. Okay, it's not scared, like sacred, pure pious later. So these are, in these kind of situation we will see the pattern as in the D1 chart, seventh lord will be under Saturn's influence. This could be aspect, this could be presence. Venus will be combust or under some malefic influence. This is the story of the D1. Okay, in the D9, the seventh lord is it has now improved. The same seventh lord from the D1 chart, it is improved in the D9. It is placed in its own sign, exalted, friendly sign. Jupiter is also aspecting the seventh house in the D9 chart. So, what does it tell about the life experience? So, it tells about there might be delay, pressure, duty heavy start. Emotional dryness will be there in the early half in your marriage life, but after mid 30s, there will be stability, there will be respect, and there will be depth of understanding. So, the diagnosis is Saturn sanctifies the marriage, karma completes within the union. Now, friends, the second case is marriage as sadhana. When we talk about purely in the Ketu terms, the spiritual terms. So, and again, friends, this has happened so many times where two people in the marriage were so strongly attached to each other that one person in old age died of heart attack and the other person wasn't able to recover with that loss, and he also died within few hours or within few days. So yes, I guess please write that in the comment section. I guess that is also the peculiar quality of one of the bird as well, that they mate for the life, they stay together for life as a couple, and when one bird dies in a couple, so the other keeps on hitting the beak on the rock, and she or he also dies like that. So I'm forgetting the name of that bird. So I mean to say, yeah, that kind of commitment, soul level connection. So we say that, okay, seventh lord in the D9, eighth house or the 12th house, Ketu's influence on the seventh house axis. Again, friends, you have to understand the beauty of the Ketu. Rahu, Rahu is not that important. The way Ketu is. So Ketu influences the seventh house axis. Saturn and Jupiter provides the structure. So in these kind of combination, if this is the pattern you are finding, the life experience is going to be intense, transformative relationship, period of distance or austerity. Because see, Ketu will do its part. Ketu will do its part. So because of that, like the way it happens, some people talk about a Marak planet being a Rajyo Karak, something like that. I'm forgetting the exact alignment. So obviously we have seen like in those cases where okay, let me for example, for the Kumbh Lagna, if Venus, Kumbh Lagna, Venus being a Yokarak planet, so Venus being the fourth lord and the ninth lord being there in the 12th house. Mars was also strengthened in the chart of that person, and I remember that person. He was the head of the state, like the chief minister in one of the province in India. But major portion of his time is in his tenure. He was imprisoned as well. He was under some lawsuit or something. He was behind the bar as well. He was imprisoned as well. So both were doing its part. So the important planet gave you the honor title, and but also prove out and gave the malefic result at the same time. I will make a separate video on this as well. So okay, now talking about this, friends, so the life experience is intense transformative relationship, period of distance or austerity, shared spiritual orientation energies. It emerges, I mean to say, shared spiritual orientation emerges. Ketu's influence in the seventh house, Saturn being strengthened in the seventh house. So the diagnosis is Ketu purify here, does not cut. Marriage survives by shedding illusion. Again, friends, see, let me give you a very one more example. I do not know how relevant this example is. See, planets work and your luck works on the reality. It does not work on the perceived reality. So let's take up the random example that they were like two military men or soldier. So they both were in that ambush kind of situation. They were in a situation where the bus they were traveling, it was blasted off. So both of them, one person survived, another person lost his arm. So the person who lost his arm, he was in pain of surgery for few weeks, pain of surgery and all of that, the hardship. But then he mentally made up his mind, and then he went on in his life, feeling, considering himself grateful that at least he did not die. He just lost his arm and he survived. He's lucky, he's grateful. The second person, he also survived, and he survived without having any major physical damage, but he got that trauma, that post trauma, stress, depression and all, PTSD and all, and now he, that scarred him for the life. So again, luck actually worked out for both of these two people. One person, even after getting a hit so hard, and that physical disability, he even went on in his life considering himself as grateful. And the other person was in such a terrible condition, being scarred for the rest of the life. So I mean to say again, luck works on the reality. It does not work on your perception of the reality. So if you are following, pursuing astrology, so you have to understand that how planets work. So yes, friends, this is what about the marriage as the sadhana, where marriage will survive by shedding the illusion. Let's take up another case. So it is about late but life saving. So to all those people who are impatient, you are in your mid 20s, late 20s, you are impatient, I can assure you, if you have that birth promise, and in that birth promise, there is an involvement of Saturn, there is an involvement of Ketu, be assured that promise will be delivered. It might take time, but it will be delivered. Saturn can delay, but it never denies. So the pattern could be that in the D1 chart, it is like weak or denying the marriage indicators, seventh house, seventh lord, Venus, Dara Karak, all of that. It is weak. Let's assume the case like weak. But in the D9 chart, strong Navamsa Lagna plus strong seventh lord, Jupiter being very prominent, planets are exalted, dignified. The whole chart is improving in the D9 compared to the D1. So the life experience is going to be that marriage will be delayed. It might come after a lot of the inner work, and it brings grounding and the dharma. So the diagnosis in these kind of situation is D9 overrides D1 and marriage arrives after the ego maturity. Now, friends, one more case of the duty before the desire. So that means let's take up the case of a random hypothetical situation of the pattern. So this could be that Saturn rules or aspect the seventh house, which can happen for the Cancer or the Leo Lagna. Venus is there, that means Venus is also there in the seventh house, discipline, placed in a good sign, and Rahu has a minimum impact. So the life experience is going to be, there might be less romance, more responsibility, longevity and mutual respect, and quiet companionship. So again, friends, see, you would have understood so far that Venus is controlled. So we say that is the only reason. Venus in the Saturnian signs becomes very dutiful. Venus in the Taurus, in the Libra, or Gemini is more driven towards exchange of the favors, gifts, pampering, love. But when Venus is in the Saturnian signs, like this could be Capricorn, Aquarius, it becomes very realistic, very mature. So you would have understood the situation the way I have written it. Oh my God, so much creativity I need to put into creating these stories. So that means Saturn's influence on the seventh house. That means there might be responsibility. Venus is there, but disciplined. So no flamboyance, being very realistic. And Rahu has got minimum flavors to it. So that means quiet companionship, longevity, and mutual respect. Not acting selfish. Rahu is selfish. Let me be very clear. Rahu is selfish. So the diagnosis is endurance over excitement, spiritual marriage by Saturn's design. Now, friends, let's take up the case of the divorce yogas, where the termination is the only solution, not the transformation. And please don't come to any conclusion. These are the random hypothetical references. For any conclusion specifically, decoding your chart, get a professional guidance from a professional astrologer. So, friends, see, we say that there will be a lot of the hardship, conflicts, which will end up leading marriage towards separation. So the pattern could be in the D1 chart. The Venus is very strong, and there is a conjunction of the Rahu as well. In the D9 chart, you will see that seventh lord is severely afflicted. So we got to know that in the D1 chart, a lot of the passion is getting generated, but in the D9 chart, everything is falling apart, and Rahu dominates over Saturn and Jupiter. So the life experience is going to be strong, intense attraction. D1 chart will do its part, but there will be immediate quick disillusionment as well. See, that's what the problem with Rahu is. Rahu keeps on building hope, building hope, building hope, and boom. See, we say that even if Saturn wants to give you disappointment, or like Jupiter wants to give you disappointment, you will lose the bet. Like, you wanted to go to that casino and you will be let down. You wanted to go to Hollywood, you will be let down right on the day one. Problem with Rahu is that it will keep on building hope, building hope, building hope, illusion, illusion, and then it throws you from the top of the high rise building. So yes, but there is going to be quick disillusionment, and there might be concerns of the affairs, instability. So the diagnosis is Rahu always seeks the novelty, but it never repairs. Contract ends when the desire fade. So till the time there is a need for each other, there are like own interest, it's fine. Afterwards, it will end, it will terminate. The second is, friends, when we talk about the promise which collapses in the reality. So let's say, for example, in the D1 chart, there are like clear marriage yogas, but in the D9 chart, in the Navamsa, seventh lord is debilitated, or it's in the Dushtana, or there's no safeguard measure like Jupiter's aspect and other combination overriding supporting factors, and Venus is also damaged, like debilitated, it is combust, it is in the like sixth house, and all. So the life experience is going to be that because D1 has clear marriage yoga, marriage will happen. But the D9, because of the affliction in the D9, sustenance will fail and there will be emotional shutdown. Diagnosis when so D9 will contradict the D1 and the marriage not meant to mature. Another case is, friends, so another case is that conflict without any resolution. So for example, the pattern could be that seventh lord in the sixth house, eighth house, 12th house, both in the D1 and the D9, but there is no protection of the Jupiter and Saturn. See, the concern with the Jupiter and Saturn is that even if you have planets in the eighth house, okay, or in the 12th house, so if there is a supporting factor coming in from the Jupiter, native has this capacity to see the lesson moral behind any hardship. Rather than arguing, rather than self-loathing, it gives you the conscience to see through the wisdom which the life is making you go through these hardship. So you will see that seventh lord in the sixth, eighth, 12th in both the D1 and the D9. No Jupiter or the Saturn protection. Mars, Rahu are like very aggressive. So the life experience is going to be there will be repeated fights, no learning curve, separation after exhaustion. And the diagnosis is karma cannot complete within union. You might have to take many other birth. Okay, now friends, now the next is about Venus is destroyed and not disciplined. So that means Venus is combust, afflicted by Rahu Ketu, no benefic aspect. D9 will also repeat the same pattern. So the life experience is going to be loss of affection, intimacy will collapse, emotional withdrawal. So you can say that the pleasure principle is broken, and because of that the relationship will dissolve. I always say, friends, now things are changing. Now, gone those days when marriages used to endure the test of the time only because of the morals, ethics, or because of the sake of the society or the family. These days, love, warmth, need, becomes very important, which generally comes from the Venus. So Venus in the modern day and age becomes very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to retain person in a relationship. So, and friends, I guess that's the last for today. It's about D60 confirms separation karma. So, we say that D60 shows the repeated abandonment themes, because again, this might be a karma which is coming in from the past life. This could be a case that yeah, I need to do one workshop on the D60 only. So I mean to say, this could be a case in the last life, in the past life. You have abandoned the person. You have abandoned any hardship came in the marriage, through sickness, through poverty, through any entanglement, and you left the person, you left the marriage. So that karma, that cycle might finish off in this lifetime. So D60 generally show the repeated abandonment themes, either side. Either you were at the receiving end or you were the conspirator, you were the doer. So Gulika, Rahu, they afflict the marriage indicators. D1 and the D9, if they both echo instability. So the life experience is going to be like one or multiple separations. Patterns will repeat across the relationship. And friends, yeah, the diagnosis I really wanted to write as the past life relationship contract ends via separation. So friends, yeah, the thing is, even in this, again, you have to ask these questions honestly, looking at the chart to yourself, if you are doing it for yourself, that does the seventh lord improve from D1 to D9? Is Saturn stronger than Rahu on the marriage axis? Does Jupiter protects the seventh house or the seventh lord? Does suffering is leading to maturity or the resentment? And does D60 repeat separation theme or not? So if most of the answers are yes, it is a spiritual marriage. And if it is no, then it is a divorce karma. So okay friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Once again, thanks a lot for watching this video.